I know you get asked this question all the time, but any updates on your future at all, and what may lie in store for you?
None more, so I've just been honest, nothing. I just got to concentrate, Jane, on make sure that I prepare my team as best as I can, and make sure we're ready to try and get a victory on Sunday, because it's been far too long at Ibrox.
Would you be expecting to have some kind of involvement? Because I guess that the club is thinking ahead to next season, whether it's deciding to keep players on, signing players, etc. Would you be expecting to have any involvement in that at all?
Well, you make a good point, because there's obviously a number of players going to be out of contract, and you've got to be very fact and respectful in the fact that these guys obviously want to know the situation and going forward. But in terms of the guys that are running out of contract, no, I've not had any involvement in terms of what I would do and what obviously the players are thinking of doing. So it's a bit of a sticky situation, if I'm being honest with you. But I just need to be professional as I can and focus on, as I said, preparing the team for the final week of the season.
How hard is it not knowing?
It's hard, and I've got to be honest, and I think the players find it hard as well. But again, all I can ask is they be as professional as possible. Which they have again this week. Got to be fair to them. We've kept their head down, and we've worked hard. We've worked on certain things, as I mentioned last week after the game, that we can get better. And I've got to be professional, so as the staff. So that's certainly been the case this week again.
Barry, as we sit here, we're 74 days away from Rangers' first game of next season. I mean, for the fans that are anxious about the amount of work that needs to be done this summer, what can you say to them? Can you offer them any sort of reassurance that things will be done in time for the first start of next season?
I've said my piece on it. There needs to be a decision as quick as possible. So we just need to wait and see. Everybody's in the same mind frame as myself. You just want to know what's going to be happening going forward. Because as I said, there has been a couple of changes made. And obviously there's been another few changes made in terms of what manager is going to be take the team next year, and who's going to be staying, who's going to be going, signings coming in, etc. So there's certainly a lot of work to be done, and as you mentioned there, is it 21st at the signing in July?
26th.
Is the first qualifying game for the Champions League. That's just round the corner, so we need to be wary of that as well.
From your discussions with Kevin, things progressing in terms of not so much the manager side, but the player recruitment side, is he giving you indications of there's a list of targets that has potentially been drawn up?
I just had a conversation in terms of how I've seen it since I've been in the door, since the 24th of February. Obviously that will remain private, should I say, that what we've discussed. But since then, nothing. So I'm not going to go and cry in a corner. I need to be as professional as possible, as I mentioned before, and making sure that I do my job to the best of my ability.
The last couple of summers, Barry, there's been big turnovers in the squad, like 10, 12 or more, both in and out. Would you imagine it'll be a similar situation this summer, regardless of who the manager's going to be?
Yeah.
Is that the type of size of work that does need done on the squad once again?
Yeah, because we've not won anything this year. We've not won enough trophies over the course of a number of years. So, yep, there has to be changes. That's not just at Rangers, but that's at every football club in Ireland. It's certainly here there has to be changes moving, going forward, and making sure that you're certainly challenging, you're certainly capable of winning trophies.
Given the kind of scope of the work that is required, then can that be done in one summer transfer window to then get Rangers to be challenging for silverware next season?
Yeah, I think it can be done. Yeah.
Because you only have to look at Celtic a couple of years ago, but as Postecoglou came in, they had a similar rebuild and they were able to turn it round. Is that the evidence that can sort of back up?
Yeah, just you obviously had at Celtic. I've seen it at a number of clubs. And what an ideal situation, a manager wants a fair bit of time, but unfortunately it's football, you don't get time. But yeah, there's a high possibility you can change it. There's no doubt. In terms of myself, that doesn't scare me one single bit. If it's me, if there's somebody else, I think they will understand that there is a number of changes needed.
How big a motivation is it this weekend to get that first one at Ibrox?
Well, 7 games has been far too long. 2 of them I wasn't involved in terms of Queen's Park and St Mirren. And then I look at the other 5 games. Fenerbahce, Bilbao, Celtic, they're high quality teams. Got some very good players. The ones that kind of frustrate me and annoy me is the Hibs and Huddle game where the performances were well below which is was expected, sorry, should I say. So I understand the players now, understand what we have to do on Sunday. We have to get that first win, because as you mentioned there, 7 games is far too low.
It's a big thing for the fans and for the players, but is there that personal motivation to walk out of Ibrox on Sunday as a winning manager?
Which
Is that just that big personal motivation to walk out of Ibrox on Sunday?
personal motivation for myself, it should be for the players as well. They understand that 7 games is far too long. I understand that. The supporters certainly understand that. So that's all the motivation you need, is to go and make sure they get the 3 points against an Aberdeen team who are still going for 3rd place, who have a cup final at play as well. So they'll be champing at the bit to make sure that they put their funds on, because they want to win in that cup final team. So I fully understand it's going to be a tough game, but bring them on, and from my side, these are a game you want to be involved in. And the players said again, as I said, with all the noise that's floating about this manager, that manager, and what's going to be happening. One thing I will say about the group of boys and the staff inside the building is they've been very professional, and they've worked hard this week again to make sure that you see up in our first victory.
Somebody said a couple of weeks ago, teams don't fear coming to Ibrox anymore. Mate, Ibrox, because I have to change your yells and Chavis like seeking the net, mate. I did a fortress again.
It's obvious it needs to change, because that's my thoughts. It might be different to somebody else's opinion, but I'm just being straight and honest. And I thought last week, in terms of the game against Celtic, was it a best performance? No, but what I seen was a fully committed team on the pitch, and that's what I want to see every single game. And if we give that same level, we have good quality. We've worked on some things that I think they can improve on this week, and if we get the things better, then we can certainly hurt teams.
Larry, I take your point about the quality of the teams you've played in some of these home games, but does the longer this run at home goes on, does that diminish your prospects, Given Crow?
That's up to other people to decide. I know the levels that they've gave in the 3 games that I mentioned, the quality teams, he disagrees with me. If you're trying to say to me, Bilbao, Celtic and Fenerbahce are my high quality teams, and that's not taking anything away from Hicks, they deserve to beat us, so did Motherwell. In terms of, does it diminish my chances of getting the job, that's up to other people to make a decision. But what I will say is my team will be fired up for the game on Sunday to try and get that first win in 7 games, because it's far too long.
These 3 games still offer the players that you've said haven't done enough this season? Does this offer them a chance to show that they can play a part next year?
Yeah, I said it. Look, there's the places that are up for grabs, because there is going to be changes, whether that's me in charge, whether that's a new manager coming in. Playing for your futures, because managers have certain ways, certain ideas. But I think the boys understand that as well. You know, there's going to be change coming, so you need to go and show how good you are on the pitch, and then that will obviously help their chances of staying. Because, as I said, it's a great place to play football. I've always said it's been a really disappointing season. So, yeah, they've got a real chance to go and show that they want to be part of the club going forward. All of us.
Barry, the Celtic goalkeeper spoke today, said there was 30 to 40 missiles going his direction in Sunday's game. As a former player yourself, what do you make of those scenes?
Yeah, you don't want to see things like that happen. I'm honest with you, when bottles come on, that's something that I don't mind to see, if I'm being honest with you. So, obviously my club, we're going to take action with it, because it can harm a player, hurt a player. I've seen it in the past with lighters or whatever. I mean, I had that for sure when I was in Fenerbahce, and I was and stuff like past my head, so it's not a nice feeling. So you've got to be careful, and you've got to watch what you're doing, because you want your supporters to come and support the team. But when you see objects like that getting thrown on, it's more nice to see.
Is there a concern that, fans will be just allowed back into these games, away fans? Is there a concern that we could go back to how it's been if fans don't behave themselves?
We certainly don't want to see that. It's been great I've been involved in the last 2 games. At Celtic Park, seeing own fans in and getting behind the team, it was brilliant. I think if you ask any Celtic manager, they will say the same thing about Sunday then. So the last thing we want to see is fans not being allowed, because it's been far too long. I'm just happy that it's changed and we've got fans back in, and that's the last thing you want to see. Yes.
It's the situation with injuries, Barry, Hadji, everybody used some French players, the Castle Gers. What's the situation?
Giannis, unfortunately, going to miss the rest of the season. Disappointed for him. Spoke to him a couple of times. He's hurting because to be fair to Giannis, he's a brilliant kid to work with. He's got a lot to offer, so gutted for him. Nana has done well to come back. He's still not the level that I would want him to be, but again, he's had a full week of training, so hopefully we'll see him on the pitch before the end of the season. Robin Proper trained today, so start to get a few guys back ready to play. And listen, what I want as a manager is I want it to be difficult to pick an 11. Don't want to be easy. So it's good having a few guys back in at the fold.